All righty, all righty. Hey, howdy, hi, y'all. Welcome back to Chasing Caspian. This is chapter 2. We have with us today this incredible cast. I'm going to go around and allow them to introduce themselves, and then I will bring us into the world of Chasing Caspian, and we will begin. So, we're going to start with Emrys.
Hey everybody. My name is Emrys. My pronouns are they, them. I am playing the wonderful Hippolyta, and you can find me on Blue Sky, the Dragon Emrys.
Nice. And next we have the lovely Garnet.
Hey y'all, I'm Garnet. I will be playing Morgana Dawn today. And you can also find me on Blue Sky.
Wonderful. And last but certainly not least, we have Shauntelle.
Hey everyone, I am Shauntelle B on Blue Sky, and today I will be playing Mazarine Wilde.
Hell yes. Okay. So, and I am your Mistrex of Ceremonies. My name is Alix. I use they, them pronouns. I am executive producer here at Batty Bards. And today we are going to continue to tell the wonderful story of chasing Caspian. So I invite you all to envision. Previously on Chasing Caspian, we saw our fairy troupe wake for a summer spectacular in the Sunlit Court. All Aji had a terrifying vision of a melting Caspian right before the show went on, and the Dawnbringer and her court were dazzled by amazing feats of daring and colorful visions. And Tightrope Hiplet, but through it all, one question sort of remained. Where is Caspian, your Lantern Jack pixie friend? Your pixie pal is missing. And just before my wonderful fairies bedded down for the night, you heard limping, dragging footsteps. So we return now to the Moonshadow Menageries encampment, where everything has been packed and is waiting for the long journey to the Twilight Village tomorrow. The footsteps have been drowned out by the sounds of griffins snoring and fairies getting rest. And before we know it, the next morning dawns bright and clear, the air a little cooler as the world begins to fall asleep around you. This is a travel day, and it's going to be a long one. How do the three of you start your morning? How does the traveling day find you?
I mean, before we even get to that, what was the limping? Who's limping?
You're welcome to take a look.
Did we hear? We all heard the limping?
Yeah,
That's what I'm doing on my travel day.
yeah,
Getting up,
definitely.
getting out.
I'm definitely getting up to Snoop. I need the tea. I need the hot goss. So I will be definitely snooping around as well.
Heck yeah. Okay. So what we're going to do, I'm going to have y'all sniff the wind. Well, I guess you don't have to sniff the wind. You guys tell me how you're approaching this, and I'll tell you what happens next.
Hmm.
Hmm.
How long
Are
has
there
it
any
been since?
tracks?
Oh, go ahead, Garnet.
Like that person was limping, so are there any tracks? Is there any
Are there any
broken
tracks?
branches?
That's a good
Hmm.
question. Yes, there are some, like, and you see evidence of a person walking but limping. So you see like a footstep and then a drag, a footstep and then a drag, as if this person is limping.
Okay, so like living with Caspian, I know their shoes. Do I
Mm,
recognize these footprints?
Is Caspian just in bed next to you? Is Caspian
that's a
just
good
there?
question.
That actually is a
No,
really good
Caspian is
question.
not.
Okay.
But you guys are absolutely welcome to make a roll about it.
I would like to sniff the wind. I think that is the best way to go this.
Definitely. Okay, let's get you sniffing the wind, buddy.
And
I got a 10.
You got a
ooh,
10.
period.
Yeah. 2 4s
Beautiful.
and a 2. Wait, 2 4s
Two
and a
four.
2. Yeah. 2 4s and a
Yeah,
2.
that's a
That's
10.
a 10.
Okay, absolutely. So you can ask me 2 questions from that list.
What's coming this way?
What's coming this way? Caspian.
Uh, second question.
Mhm.
Uh, whose territory is this? Whose doing is this?
Who's doing is this? Is
Yeah,
Caspian
and I'm
coming?
talking about the limping. Like,
The
who's doing?
limping.
Who made the limping happen?
That's a good question. Uh, you. Okay. So in our previous episode, Mazarine became a royal blue raven and flew around to get a lay of the land and scope out what was happening. And in that time, you smelled frost, you smelled cold. So when you're approaching Caspian now, or approaching this area where Caspian is, you smell that tinge of frost again. And it reminds you very strongly of the known person who runs the Winter Court, the Duskbinder. So that is the sense that you get
Hmm.
from sniffing the wind.
Okay. I will immediately run out and see, like, where those tracks go then.
Mm, mhm. Okay. So let me turn this down a bit, actually, because that's mad loud. So you follow where the footprints lead, and they lead to a small clearing, not too far off the beaten trail where you guys were already headed. You guys are heading out toward where the Twilight Village is going. I'm sorry, where the Twilight Village is located, the Autumn Court. And you see the figure that you find is in the clearing that has rosy brown skin with tousled purple hair. You see that they wear a bubblegum pink leotard with a golden paper crown, something that was given to them by Whimsy ages ago. His feet are shod in delicate powder blue spider silk point shoes with little pink pom poms on the toes, and their wings are this iridescent gray and silver gossamer with tinges of pink right at the tips. You see Caspian. Caspian wakes, he's sleeping, but he wakes to find all of you staring at him. Caspian doesn't look at all surprised to see you there, but he also doesn't really look at you all whatsoever. Instead, they sort of flitter their wings and stand somewhat strangely before you, like they flitter to stand up. But you see that their weight is shifted to one side as though one of their legs is paining them. When you speak, do you speak?
Immediately, I've been snooping behind. I immediately run up to Caspian and I say, Caspian, what in the hey? Where have you been?
Caspian doesn't answer.
I would like to I wanna size him up. I'm trying to see what's
Okay,
going on with them right now.
absolutely. Absolutely. You want to size someone up? Go ahead and roll 2d6 for me.
That is a 6 and a 4, 10.
A 6 and a 4, a 10. Beautiful. You don't add anything to that? Sorry, I probably could look at your sheet.
Let me see. Oh,
It's
plus
a
1,
10 either way. So
11.
plus one, 11.
Hmm.
Beautiful. So you can ask them questions. You can ask Caspian questions and they must answer honestly. You can ask them 2 of the following questions. Those 4 down there.
I think initially seeing them not answering, I am gonna say, and I notice them that he's ungainly. I'm gonna kind of like
Mhm.
not touching them, but just like, do that thing where your hands hover and I'll ask them, like, okay, like, where are you confident? Where are you uncertain? Kind of just trying to suss out, like, okay, like, where are you hurt? Where are you good? Like, what's the deal?
Hmm. Where are you confident and where are you uncertain? And they must answer honestly.
Mhm.
This is a hell of a conundrum. So Caspian shifts their weight to the pained leg, and you see him falter a little, and his wings sort of flitter to hold him up. And then, so that's where he is uncertain on that leg in specific. Where he's confident, he shifts his weight back to the other foot. And I'll give another answer to that too. Where he's confident, he points forward toward the path that you guys were walking, toward the Twilight Village.
I kind of glance over my shoulder as Caspian points towards the Twilight Village, and I say to them, um, "You can't just disappear on us like that, like, and now you're back just like that out of the blue. Like, what do you intend to do?"
Caspian makes a sort of like gurgling noise almost. You hear this burbling in Caspian's throat. And when Caspian tries to speak, you hear like coming from his throat. And he points again towards the Twilight Village with more urgency this time. Down
Sweetie,
the
did
road.
somebody Ursula you? Did a sea witch steal your voice?
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
what happened to your voice, honey? Like, okay, just nod, yes or no questions for now. And I look around at Mazarine and at
Morgana.
Morgana, and I'm just like,
Morgana Dawn.
what do we do?
So first things first, we're going home. I'm gonna take Caspian back to our wagon and we're gonna get to sleep in a real bed.
I'm gonna.
We're gonna tuck them in
Mhm,
and get them some food and then we will figure out what to do. But right now you need rest and healing. So
mhm.
you're gonna relax. And maybe I'll handcuff you to the bed so you don't go anywhere this time. But we'll go this way because that's where we're going anyway. But for now, you need to rest, and I'm gonna have somebody come look at your leg
I'll
because
call the
I am
twins.
not a healer.
I'll call the twins.
Yes, no question. Can you come with us?
You see Caspian thinks about it for a moment, then nods
Okay,
once.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Will you be able to talk soon?
Caspian tries to speak again, and you hear that noise again, and then nothing. Shakes his head.
We gotta talk to Aji about this, because if your voice box melted or something, we got bigger problems. We got bigger.
I I am gonna, as we take off in the direction back up the path, I'm gonna walk behind, and I'll just want to observe, like Caspian's demeanor, and their vibe. And I'm just kind of like thinking to myself, I'm like trying to rack my brain for like what could possibly be going on here. I wanna I wanna sniff the wind
Wanna
on
sniff the wind?
yeah.
Okay. Roll
Something
your
is
2d6 for me.
clearly not right here.
Hmm.
Um not great. That is only 5. So that's a miss.
5. So what goes wrong? Let me look at these questions. Okay, you can choose one of the questions, and then I'll tell you what
I
goes wrong.
I'm just I'm just looking at Caspian. I'm just like, what's here that I have not seen yet? Like, what am I missing here?
That's a good question. I'll tell you what goes wrong. You, Morgana, Dawn, Mazarine, and Caspian walk further into the encampment, and you see people are beginning to wake and get themselves ready for a long day of traveling. And as Morgana Dawn pulls Caspian into their wagon to hopefully get Caspian some sleep, you see something drip onto the ground where Caspian was walking, and it sort of sizzles on the ground and then comes to rest.
I want to get down and see if I can get a closer look at it. I'm not gonna touch it, but I'm just like, what the Fae?
What you see is a coin sized melted droplet of rosy brown wax.
I am gonna look around. What's around me right now? Like is there like a table nearby, a cart nearby, anything nearby? I'm looking around for something like a spoon or like a twig or a piece of wood. I want to grab whatever the nearest like sturdy thing is, and I want to just like about an inch around this patch, like
Mhm.
dig up whatever this thing is, try to like scoop it up without touching it.
Yeah. So
And yeah,
you guys are next to like carts and stuff. You aren't that far from the mess hall, basically the chow carriage. Um, so yeah, you can absolutely get like a spoon or something and like carve into the dirt around this coin of wax. Definitely.
yeah, I'm gonna pick it up and to, I'm gonna go and see if I can find uh, Lady Rosemary.
Okay. You find the Lady Rosemary in her cabin, shaving. She's shaving her beard so that it's just so, and you see Whimsy sitting on her shoulder chattering and also cutting the whiskers on his little chin. They're shaving together. It's very cute.
Mhm. As I,
Anyhow,
yeah,
that's where
kind of come in and see that, I think the panic is like just temporarily dips into like, just like, oh, these two before I'm like, it's back again.
yeah, fair. You see Lady Rosemary and Whimsy. Whimsy sees you first, and you see Whimsy sort of like sniffing the air, and then turn to look at you and go, "Oh, Hippolyta, good
Hi.
morning."
Good morning, Lindsay. Hi. 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 I hate to bust in on y'all like this, but so we found Caspian. Yay. And I kind of like with one hand, yay. And also like a weird thing happened when Caspian was walking and then I brought this, I don't know. Y'all know about like strange magical things. Can y'all look at this and tell me if y'all know what this is? It dripped off of Caspian just now.
Ooh. You see Lady Rosemary, she puts down her clippers, adjusts her very, very luxe and voluptuous robe on her body, and walks forward towards you. She sees she's got her little spectacles on. She hasn't put in her contacts in yet. And she looks down at this little coin of wax that you have, and she goes, "Oh, honey, where'd you say you
It dripped off of Caspian?
found?" And
Yeah.
she sort of rubs her temples a little, and she goes, "I've never seen anything like this before, but I'm okay to. If you're fine with leaving it here, I could take a look for you."
I mean, it's not I don't know if it's dangerous. I don't want it to like what if it like possesses you or something? Because Caspian can't even talk right now. It's like their voice is like missing or stolen or something. And so I don't know. I didn't even want to touch it. Like so I like kind of want to figure out what it is, but I like also don't want to leave it here if it's gonna do something bad to y'all.
You see Lady Rosemary gives you a gentle smile and then looks at the coin more I guess deeply. Looks at this coin more to study and to try and understand. You see she lifts your hand up to her nose so she can sniff it, smell what it smells like. You see she pokes at it with one of her long nails and nothing happens. The coin remains inert. And as she pokes it, you see some of the dirt from around the coin like falls off. And she goes, "This is candle wax, honey. Now, what would Caspian be doing with candle wax?"
I mean, I can think of a lot of things that Caspian might be doing with candle wax, but like I'm concerned with the fact that this candle wax actively in like liquid form dripped off of Caspian while they were walking.
It's curious. Let me do some research. You can keep the coin if you'd like. I know that it's wax at this point.
I'm gonna
Let me
just,
do some research and see what I can find, honey.
I'm gonna just leave it here just in case some spooky stuff happens. And I kind of like slide the spoon and everything just like onto her vanity table, just like very, pull my hand back.
She gives a boisterous laugh at that. Yes, well, I understand not wanting to be close to whatever Caspian's got going on with wax. You said that little bugger came back what, this morning?
Well, we found them in a field a little ways away and they were limping. Like one of I don't know if they hurt their ankle or their foot, and they can't talk. Every time they try to talk, it just sounds like a croaking noise.
Oh, well, that's definitely not good. And you see Lady Rosemary's face falls into a mask of concern, deep worry. This is one of the few times that Lady Rosemary actually looks her age because she's very much an older fairy. But you see she's got like little crow's feet and little frown lines as she, scrunches her face up in worry. And she says, "Well, I'd like to get a look at him if I can. I need
He's
to put
in
on
the
clothes.
yeah.
I'll
He's
have to
in
put on clothes first, darling. I'm not decent. But I'll come take a look, and maybe I'll talk to Aji once she feels better about this."
yeah. He uh he's in the carriage with Morgana Dawn. They went back there. There was something about like handcuffing him to the bed so they can't get away
Oh, I'm sure
again.
he'll like that.
Yeah, I mean, if he's not possessed or whatever. And I like am backing just like back the way that I can, kind of like absentmindedly saying that as I turn to go. I'll see you over there.
All right, darling, don't be a stranger. and you hear her speaking in low tones, beginning to confer with Whimsy as the two of them like hunch over and take a deeper look at this wax coin that fell off of Caspian into the dirt. So, for my dear Mazarine and Morgana Dawn, what have you two gotten up to while this conversation was happening?
Uh, Probably trying to tuck Caspian into bed, keep him nice and warm. Uh, which
Food,
seems now like it might be a
bandages.
problem, but I don't know. So
Yeah, no, I sent the twins to go grab all of their favorite foods that were not like heavy because I don't know when the
Mhm.
last time they ate was, but I also don't want to like overload them. So like
Mm,
liquidy stuff, no hot bean water because that's just gonna upset them and
Mm-mm.
keep them from sleeping. So
yeah.
Mhm.
chamomile tea and all of their favorite like light food. So like fruits and light cheeses and then into bed. But definitely like leave your leg out so we could take a look at it and maybe try to bandage you up or maybe reset it. Is it broken? Do we need to reset
Yeah, can we
something?
take a look at it?
Definitely. It does not look broken.
Okay.
It looks vaguely deformed, as though like one leg is longer than the other by like, I don't know, 2 inches or so. Um, and it feels like waxy, for want of a better phrase. It feels waxy, not like skin.
Did someone hurt you, Caspian?
At this, you see Caspian frown a little and then smooth their features, shakes their head.
Did someone curse you?
Caspian gives a smile, and the inside of their mouth is jet black. I love how all three of you like jumped back. That is so fucking funny.
Bitch, what? Oh.
As in no teeth, just like as if a cartoon just colored in.
Uh-huh.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Caspian, why did I smell frost on you? It's not a yes no question, but I smell frost.
And you do. Caspian's eyes get wide at this, and he makes that, and it's pointing in the general direction of further down the road again, as as if to speak, but clearly unable. It's it's as though Caspian wants to explain and cannot.
I immediately start going through like my trunk and I just pull out like some paper and a pen and I'm like,
That's what I
your
was gonna
voice
say.
may not work, but your hands still do. What happened?
Yes.
And then I just hand them the paper and the pen.
Caspian looks at the pen, looks at the paper, and then looks up at y'all in confusion, and
Stop it.
then begins to scribble. Nothing is intelligible. It's as though they've never written before.
Caspian.
Caspian, are you you?
Let's see here.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's
that's
a
a very
wrong
good
question.
question. Yes, it is.
It's a wrong
Uh, ch-
question. I suppose it's sizing up. Is it?
it could be size someone up, definitely.
Or maybe it's
It
not.
can definitely be size someone up. It could be draw someone out or
Yes.
confront someone as well. It's totally up to you.
I think it's more draw draw them out.
Draw them out. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll 2d6 for me.
Oh, that's a I 6 and a 4 plus 1, 11.
Oh yeah, 11.
These
Beautiful.
rolls, man.
Okay, so you draw someone out. You can ask two of those questions.
Uh, what what are you how are you forgetting to write? What are you forgetting? What are you ignoring? What are you keeping from yourself?
As you ask this question, Caspian tilts their head to the side and then frowns again, shakes his head, and scribbles again on the page. The feeling that you get based on, because that was a good roll, the feeling that you get, Caspian has not forgotten anything.
Mhm.
Caspian, maybe this Caspian, did not know anything to begin with.
This Caspian didn't know how to write, and so is trying to do it because we're asking for it, but doesn't know how to actually do that thing.
Right.
Hmm. Uh, what do you hope I'll do?
This, you ask this question so gently. And in my mind, tell me if this is what happens, right? In my mind, Caspian is on the bed, sitting, trying to give you guys what you want, answers. And you crouch down before them and ask very gently, what do you hope I'll do? This, you get the feeling that for this Caspian, this is the first time anyone has ever been gentle with him. And so you see a single bubblegum pink tear, and then very tiredly, they point forward on the road.
You want us to keep going?
Caspian nods.
Okay. We'll keep going. And I'll look at Morgana Dawn. Do we have a puppet here? Just quietly?
I think so. I think so. But we're not gonna freak him out. We're
Mm-mm.
not gonna freak anybody out. We're just gonna
No. We will keep moving.
I am going to peek out the window to see if the twins have shown up with Caspian's food and tea yet.
Yes, by hook or crook, they've shown up, and heaven knows how they've done it without spilling anything, but they have been cartwheeling over each other to get to Caspian with y'all. And you see a cup of tea being held in the air as Butterbur does a little shimmy shake, and Bitterbalm is holding a plate of like charcuterie. So you see like grapes and cheeses and brie and just wonderful, wonderful,
Mhm.
yummy snacks. And they come waltzing into the door and they go, Caspian, making this huge fuss.
Gentle, gentle, gentle. Look, um, we're gonna be soft with Caspian right now. They've been through a lot. Um, how about I give you these mushrooms and y'all go hang out in your wagon and I will come join you later while we let Caspian get some rest.
Butterbur and Bitterbalm do not need convincing. They place down the tea and the charcuterie and grab the mushrooms, and they're like, thanks, and run out of the door.
Great.
So, how do the three of you reconvene? Do the three of you reconvene? Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
So I leave Lady Rosemary's carriage and I make my way over to Morgana Dawn and Caspian's carriage. And I like make my way up the little step and I go to open the door and then I pause. And then I kind of knock very timidly on the door. And wait for to see if I hear anything.
Well, I'll open it.
Oh good, you're alive. Okay. Is everything
Why would we not
Would
be?
we not be alive?
guys? And then I like
Yeah, there is another room. So once I get Caspian kind of like set up with like tea and the charcuterie board and just take your time. I have no idea how they managed to do this, but the tea is still like hot, so I don't want you to burn yourself. But we'll be back.
yeah, wouldn't
Be
want to
comfortable.
melt. I gotta say under my breath. And then I was like, so
But then we'll go into the other room, um,
Mhm.
where we can kind of like talk.
and I'm like buzzing, like bouncing from like one foot to the other back and forth. So I'm pretty sure that that's not Caspian because
Mhm.
when they climbed into the cart, they dripped candle wax. Like, you know how people sweat or like wet themselves? They like fully dripped candle wax, like wet candle wax. And I took it over to Lady Rosemary's carriage, and that's what she told me. And her and Whimsy are trying to figure out what it is, but I don't think that's Caspian.
No,
Y'all
I
don't
don't
look
either.
I
surprised.
think it. No, because we kind of figured that out too. But I'm wondering if maybe it's a piece of Caspian. Maybe because you said puppet, so I'm wondering if maybe a part of
It,
him is in the puppet, but the rest of them is cold.
some, somebody kidnapped Caspian and replaced them with the wax puppet.
Yeah,
Maybe.
maybe. Sounds like, seems like.
They replaced Caspian with a wax puppet that can't talk and then sent it back here.
I'm wondering if maybe it escaped.
Oh, maybe that's
Because if there's a
why
piece
it's
of our
limping.
Caspian in this puppet, maybe it escaped and is trying to lead us to the rest of Caspian.
I mean, we should ask about that because they can answer that on a yes no.
Okay.
What
Yeah.
have they told you so far?
They want us to keep moving. Um, he doesn't know how to write, so communication is hard. I don't even know if he'll be able to drink that tea, and maybe we shouldn't give him anything. Oh, no hot water.
Mm, yeah.
He opened his mouth and it was just black.
Nope, I don't like that at all. I'm very glad I was not present for that. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No, no,
Mhm.
no, no.
Mhm.
Um, so so it's a puppet.
Not
Y'all,
necessarily, but mhm.
but like a puppet's like a doll. Why don't we just ask Annie if like she knows anything about like puppets or wax
Yeah.
poppets or golems or you know
Yeah.
replacement things because she's a doll that came to life. So, like, maybe she knows some things.
Let's ask now.
And I'm
Let's find
gonna,
out now.
do you want me to go get her or are you one of you gonna go get her? We all gonna go get her, but then who's gonna watch Wax
Can we
Caspian?
call her over? That way none of us have to
I'm
go get her.
not
Should she?
leaving Caspian.
No,
Oh,
don't leave.
So,
Tiro. And I'm just kinda look around, and then, it just the air kinda, shimmers a little bit, and then, like, a rush of bubbles, and Tiro just kinda, like,
Yes, Madam
appears.
Hippolyta.
Tiro, can you go find Annie and ask her to meet us here as soon
Oh,
as she
yeah,
can, like, as fast as possible?
of course. And you see Tiro disappears in a flash of bubbles.
Okay,
It
okay.
takes about maybe 2 minutes max before Tiro has a very harried looking Annie come running past, and he's got like bubbles in her hair from Tiro appearing. And you see she's still got a spatula in one hand, and she goes, "Now good?"
Oh, yeah, Annie, sorry. It's really important. We would not interrupt you while you're cooking if it wasn't really important. So, and then I like look expectantly at at you all, Morgana, Don, and Maz, like, y'all gonna say it or should I say it?
So Caspian is back with an asterisk. And we would like for you to check on the asterisk part.
Like a vibe check, kinda, you know?
You
Cause
see
yeah.
Annie's eyes, they get wide, big in her face in a way that only a doll's eyes can. And she sheaths her spatula and pulls down the top of her apron, lets it dangle, and she goes, "Where is he? When did he get back here?"
He's in the other room. This morning?
Yeah, we
"All right,
found
darling,
them
give me just a minute."
in a field a ways off.
"In a field? What in the hell?" And you see she turns and like looks very puzzled as she goes into the other room. And then you hear silence for a moment, and then a sharp and then she backs out of the room and she goes, "That ain't Caspian. That's a doppelganger."
See, I told y'all Annie would know. What's a doppelganger?
Oh, it's not good, I tell you that. It's a wax effigy, I suppose, meant to simulate a person. It's a fake Caspian, darling.
Okay. So somebody made a fake Caspian, and then that
That's
fake
what it looks like.
Caspian, do they usually talk?
No, not that I know of. But then I don't know a ton of doppelgangers, just other dolls.
Okay, because that doppel Caspian can't talk.
Yeah, I guess that
Do
makes sense.
do
And
doppelgangers have pieces of the original in them? Like, would they, have a lock of hair or something? Would they be attached to Caspian?
Hmm. You see, sorry, you see Annie gives a small smile at this and says, "No, not at all, darling. This is the work of somebody who saw Caspian once upon a yesteryear, whenever, and decided that they wanted to take one home."
Ugh.
so they
Okay.
made this Caspian as a copy of our Caspian because they liked our Caspian so much. That is so creepy.
What's creepier is they kept the real one and sent
My
back
God.
out this
Um,
one.
okay. So
Or
with a
maybe
doppelganger,
they made the
I'm
doppel Caspian to be their weird love slave and it escaped and it found us to rescue it.
I'm looking for proof of life. Does the original Caspian need to still be alive for the doppelganger to be up and moving around?
Hmm. You see Annie looks a little concerned at this, says, "Well, darling, I've never thought of that. I I'll be honest. My experience with doppelgangers is awful limited. Now, I would like to hope that Caspian's still alive and kicking. I'd like to think so very much. Maybe this is as good a sign as any. What you said that Doppel Caspian can't talk. So have y'all been able to get any information from him at all?
He wants us to keep moving. He wants us to head towards the winter court, and I smell winter on him.
I smelled winter on him too. I suppose maybe that's as good a hint as any.
And the worst part is that we can't skip the autumn court. That would
They would
I don't
not
even
like
want
that.
to. I don't even want to know what would happen if we just
No.
rolled right on by. So we
I
still have to
mean,
perform
low key
tonight.
might not be a bad idea to just roll on by, like no reason. No reason. I mean, like, just saying, I don't particularly want to go home anyway. So we could just
Oh.
send them
Home?
like a rain check. We're sick. And then we don't have to go.
We do have to go.
We do have to go. You of all people know what would happen. The amount of disrespect that
Mm-hmm.
would be felt, and if we just skipped them,
But
we have
They
to
would chase
go.
us down.
if we like wrote them a letter and was like, "Sorry, we can't come. The homie's kidnapped," they might be like, "Okay."
Nope.
You
Mm-mm.
recall how long it took for them to get over the fact that you were here with us,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And now you want
Well,
to skip?
well, strictly speaking, they don't know that I'm here.
I mean, and us skipping is a good way for them to find out because
I
they will
mean,
chase us down. They won't be able to sleep. They will chase us down.
okay, like what if y'all go? I just skip and go ahead.
So we can lose two people? I don't think so.
After our
What if
last show, that's what you want to give them?
after
You don't want to
they might
show them why you left?
they might turn me into a double thingy. Uh, wait, did y'all ask the doppel Caspian if it's seen our Caspian?
Well,
No,
no, because
actually.
we were still working on we didn't know if
It,
this Caspian knew that it wasn't the original Caspian and didn't want to freak them out.
Good point. I mean, we gotta ask, and I'm just gonna like push the door open to the other
Right,
room.
but grab.
And
Would you
so,
want to know if you were a clone or a copy?
I mean, give me some credit. I'm not completely tactless. I was raised at
mm-hmm.
court. Hi, and I turn back to the doppelganger, and I just, hi,
Mazarine, are we letting this happen?
Caspian,
No.
do you remember me?
You see the doppelganger Caspian sort of like leans forward and like you see that they were scribbling on the page again just idly, and they give you that wide smile again, fully black.
Mm,
Mm-hmm,
mhm.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Is that a yes or a no?
And Caspian nods.
Okay. So, honey, I was just curious. Wherever you were before we found you in that field, did you see somebody who looked like you? Like a double of you?
You see this Caspian's eyes get wide and they begin to nod very frantically and pointing towards where y'all are headed.
So, where you came from, there's a double of you there.
Nods again.
Did
And
they
that double
talk?
is safe?
At this, you see Caspian sort of frown a little and then shakes his head.
Okay. Now, I want you to point to the places on you where the double is hurt.
That's actually a very clever tactic. Caspian, this Caspian puts their hands together like an X, like this, and then places them behind its back.
Okay. So the double of you is tied up where
Nods
where
again.
they are. Is the person who tied them up the person who you ran away from?
The double thinks about this for a moment, then nods. Yes.
Did that person hurt you too?
At this, you see a sort of like a smaller smile, jet black again, and they shake their head.
I look at the rest of the group.
Caspian, did the when you came here, were you sent here?
This Caspian shakes his head again.
You just came to find us because you wanted to come find us.
Nods.
Does the person who tied up the other Caspian know that you are here?
At this, they look very small, and you see their wings sort of flitter a little, and they shake their head very minutely.
We're not
Does
going
the
to let them hurt you.
Caspian gives a small smile at this, but they don't open their mouth this time. Just a genuine smile. And with that, we are actually going to take our first break. So we will be back in 15 minutes after we're done being human beings. So we'll see you then. There we go. Hey, howdy, hi, y'all. And we are back. Look at my glorious cast. Everybody fed, watered, and looking spectacular. We are going to jump back into our story. So, last we left off, the three of you had convened, found some information from the former Caspian or Doppel Caspian, and now we return to see the camera panning out at the encampment at large. You begin to feel the anticipation. The breakfast has done, the chow hut is closed. Annie has sort of wandered out, gone back to cleaning up the kitchen. She sleeps in the chow hut, so that's, where she went to go and clean. Um, and we see the four of you, Mazarine, Morgana Dawn, Hippolyta, and Doppel Caspian, in Morgana Dawn and Caspian's carriage. On the outside of your carriage, we see the seasons slowly beginning to change as you move forward down the way into the woods at twilight. Um anyhow, we see the three of you walking forward around about the woods. I wanted to ask you, what sorts of things are you getting into in the woods? How are you proceeding?
I
Kind of with
Normally,
caution.
Yeah, very cautiously.
normally, yeah, it would be shifting in just Morgana Dawn would normally just be enjoying the trees and just watching them shift and change and knowing that as they shed their leaves, it's time for a renewal is coming and new life will come after rest. Now it feels creepy, foreboding. Autumn
Hmm.
has a different smell.
And it does. It does indeed have a different smell. As you proceed forward, the encampment, the troop, the company of you, your caravan, moves forward. There is joy and joviality. There's excitement. There's conversation and talking and people moving about because, after all, you are fairies in a circus. If nothing else, you have a lot of energy. But the three of you in particular have a sort of shadow hanging over you, understanding that you have Caspian, but not your Caspian. And there is a moment as you all continue to walk where you come across a pool. This is a few hours after you've begun. Caspian, Doppel Caspian, is in the carriage, sleeping for all intents and purposes, laying there, staring up at the ceiling, and not making a fuss. But that's as close to sleep as a doppelganger can get, at least as far as you guys can tell. And after a few hours, the company halts at a pool, and you see like a pool of crystal clear water. Underneath you can see rocks and fish sort of moving around. Um and you also see the chow hut open again. Annie Buckeye's preparing food, sending out food to uh everybody in the company, especially Bitterburr and Butterbalm. Butterburr and Bitterbalm? Whatever. You see the twins being taking as much food as they possibly can because they are, according to them, growing boys, even though they grown as hell. And as people are sort of enjoying the provisions, we see a burbling spring that's surrounded by little will-o'-the-wisps behind the curtains of willow trees. And the place smells of honey cakes and tea to you, Mazarine. The company is halted to provide food and water for the beasts, the birds, and the bugs of burden that move these carriages forward. And at this point, it's been like, I don't know, 4 to 6 hours. And the company is rather road weary, like they did a performance last night. They had to pack up all kinds of stuff. Everybody's sort of used to this fast pace, but by that same token, it's still a fast pace. And but none of these people really seem to notice that spring in particular, except you, Mazarine. So, how do you want to proceed?
I will take my teapot and head over towards it. And if no one else is seeing it, I will collect water from it and see what happens.
So, let me ask you, before you collect this water, what are your intentions with the water?
I will make some tea.
Smart.
I will make some tea.
So, you tell me what kind of tea you're making, and I'll tell you what happens.
Um, do I collect the water? The water
Yeah,
happens?
you absolutely collect the water.
Okay.
Mhm.
Uh, I will make an iced tea. Um, and it will have ginger in it for heat, uh, peppermint in it for cool,
Mm.
and probably some strawberries, dried strawberries.
Ooh. That sounds delightful. What the heckity? Okay, now I want tea. Um, all right. So you make this incredibly fragrant, deeply seasoned, for want of a better word, but very flavorful tea. And it's cool as it, rests in your cup. Do you drink this tea? Or do you provide it for
I
someone else?
would like to share it, and this was the reason for making an iced tea. I'd like to share it with Caspian.
Interesting. Okay. So, is this you serving tea and honey cakes?
Yes,
Yes.
I would like to serve
Beautiful.
tea and honey cake.
Okay, so go ahead and roll for me.
Mhm.
And honestly, with this spring, I'll give it to you with advantage. So go ahead and roll 3d6 and take the two highest.
What's that? Oh, that's a 5. Okay. So that's a 12. Like I
That's a
went, whoop.
12.
Yes.
Beautiful. We love to see it. Okay. So on a 10 plus hit, they can become invisible until the setting of the spheres. And you can choose one of the following that they may, if they wish, also receive. So you let me know which one you provide for Caspian.
Okay.
Doppel Caspian.
Doppel Caspian. Oh. I think I'd like some insight into the weakness of their enemy.
Smart. Okay, very I love this. Oh, this game is fun. Okay. So how we're going to do this, you see Caspian still staring sort of blankly at the ceiling. And when you come, you've put the kettle on, you've created this gloriously fragrant tea. You've got a plate of little honeyed cakes next to it. And you come and you serve Caspian some of this iced tea. And Caspian looks at it for a moment and then opens that black mouth, holds the cup in both hands, and takes a tentative sip, very hesitant, and some sort of like dribbles down his
Hmm.
chin. But he swallows reflexively, swallows some of the tea, and then gives you a gentle smile again, that wide, black, empty smile.
Hmm.
And you see him sort of like poking at one of the cakes and then pointing at himself as if
Yes,
asking if he can. Okay. So he
absolutely.
asks if he can take one, and he takes it and sort of like slides it into his mouth, like the whole thing. And
D-
then like
hmm.
slowly figures out how to chew, and you see
Yeah.
his cheeks bulge with honey cake. And as this happens, you have this feeling that this doppelganger was not created with spite. This doppelganger was not created out of anger. This doppelganger wasn't even created out of desire, all things considered. It was created out of love, at
Ah,
least a form thereof, right? And so as Caspian's cheeks bulge with this honey cake, and you see him swallowing some of the tea and really enjoying his time, you get the sense that the weakness of Caspian's enemy is
mhm.
Caspian himself.
Right, right. As part of this, is it possible? It's not a mechanical thing, really. Is it possible for me to just eat a little of that bad luck
Yes, it
that
is.
this young Caspian or this doppel Caspian hasn't been treated as kindly or carefully as the love suggests that they should have been?
I will say yes. Now, my question becomes, do you drink the tea as well?
Yes.
You do?
Mhm.
So, here's how this plays out. As you enjoy one of your honey cakes, you feel that familiar sensation at the back of your throat, the sort of spice, almost that capsaicin heat, not ginger heat, but capsaicin heat that sort of lends itself to the feeling of bad luck, as though
Mhm.
you're swallowing something for someone else, that negative trajectory.
Mhm.
But as you drink this tea, you feel neutralization in a way that you've never felt before. You've made
Hmm.
tea before, trust, but this is something different. It's as though you are the bad luck that was in your belly, in your gut, in your fate, interwoven with you,
Yeah.
has been neutralized.
Huh.
It didn't disperse, it didn't go someplace else, it's just gone.
That's unexpected. I don't think I know what to do with that. So I just kind of enjoy the tea. I think I really just sit with it because I don't know what to do with it.
The weight of other people's poor fortunes has been holding you down almost gravitationally for centuries, ages. And this age ending in the same way that other ages end, an ebb and flow, ends on a note of seeing you released. And I think that is what occurs to you in this moment as you engage with these honey cakes, which do still provide you that bad luck burn. But when, as you drink the tea, it dissipates. That's never happened to you before.
I think Mazarine just sips and cries. Sips tea and cries.
So, as Mazarine is enjoying a beautiful cup of iced tea with Caspian, we see a messenger bird. Sort of, the camera is panned out of this cart, and we see a messenger bird, a glittering golden hummingbird, sort of flittering above the company and sort of entertaining the twins, especially Bitterbur and Butterball. They are having a field day with this bird as it does loop the loops and figure eights, and it hums this glorious tune. And my question now is, where are you, Morgana Dawn?
I am sitting in the basically I'm driving the wagon, like our giant beetle knows where to go. It just follows along, but I'm sitting outside in the front watching autumn, watching it change from summer to autumn and trying to speak with the plants to see if maybe there's something they noticed when Caspian was walking back. See if maybe they knew where they came from. Like more
That
specifically than
is,
just the way we're going.
yeah, I got you. So that is definitely a role question, but I don't know which role. Maybe sniff the wind or
Okay.
draw someone out?
Uh, Let me see.
We can take a peek at these. Let's see here. Mm, actually, yes, this would be a draw someone out role.
Uh-huh.
And this would be in the circumstance where you can help someone. So you can add that question at the bottom as well.
Okay. Oh. Dice, 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 dice. 11.
11?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, so which you can ask two of those following questions.
Um, I'm gonna ask, what do you expect and how do you feel about it? Meaning, since I'm talking to these trees that are shifting and changing, and what do you what did you notice that was different, because what you expected wasn't what happened last night?
Mm. Okay, so what you get from the trees, you hear voices speaking in chorus in the way that most plants tend to, because they are entangled with their roots and what have you. They speak to you in chorus. And these voices in harmony say to you that they were expecting death, in that they were expecting the death of the seasons,
Mm-hmm.
like the death of the plants. They were expecting rest.
Mm-hmm.
And these plants now say how they what they received is not what they got, like is not what they expected.
Mm-hmm.
So what they expected was rest. What they got was something closer to confusion. Um or yeah, confusion is the right word. Something closer to confusion. Things being out of balance.
Okay.
And with that, how they feel about it is uneasy. They are uneasy with the way that things are happening now. Makes sense.
Before I ask my next question, is there a way to help you feel more at ease?
Mm. The trees sort of yawn forward, arching and moving. And they sort of shuffle and shake their branches, and you feel the leaves sort of falling down round you. And they say in chorus again that balance is baseline, that balance will be restored with or without its consent. Even if the world has to be dragged kicking and screaming, it will be put back in its correct place. That's the nature of the world. Thus is the nature of the Fae. That is the way of nature.
That definitely makes Morgana feel a little bit better. Um, just generally speaking, like, the trees are right. Trees are always right. Everything's gonna turn out okay. Um, so then with the second question sheet, I will ask the last one. I intend to draw you out by requesting an image. Can you show me exactly what you saw last night
Okay.
when the uneasiness happened?
Got it. Okay. That was a good question. Um, so you draw them out by asking for this image, requesting communication from the plants in the area. Now, trees and plants do not see, they do feel, though,
Mhm.
because they have roots. So what you get is tremors. You feel the dragging of Caspian's leg. You feel from days prior, a week prior, maybe, you feel boots crunching through the underbrush. You feel someone's hair sort of tousled in the leaves of the spring court. You see these trees are all interconnected. The roots become a nucleus almost. They form into one so that all of these trees can communicate with one another. And what you feel from one of them further away is someone's hair touching the branches of a tree in the spring court, someone's boots crunching down in the underbrush through the summer court, and a dragging, limping leg falling prone at the end of the summer court. So that's what you get from those trees.
I will, when possible, relay that information to my compatriots,
That's
especially
very
the
fair.
length of time,
Yeah.
because that feels important.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as the company has sort of come to rest beside this pond, you see that same golden bird sort of flittering around, and it comes to actually rest on your shoulder, Morgana Dawn. And it begins to trill this glorious, triumphant sort of song. And beneath the notes of the song, you hear a message spoken in a language only you can hear. And it's directed at you specifically. In it, you hear Hibiscus talking to you about the last remaining tendrils of the blight, giving you a small update, sort of making their way, these tendrils, through the flower garden in the spring court. She asks that wherever you are, you will think of her kindly. And that is the end of that message. How do you proceed with this information? Give me 1 second. I'll be back. I can hear you though.
Morgana Dawn never leaving had nothing to do with her cousin. She loves her cousin. She just never wanted to rule and never wanted the responsibility of being someone's protector. That's a lot. Like protecting the head of an entire court is the responsibility was too much. Um it's not something that they ever wanted like at all. So she can I send a message back through this bird?
You can try, yeah, definitely.
Um my dearest hibiscus, you will always have my love. And as we are ageless, I still need more time. Our people are proud and strong, and I am heartened to hear that they are recovering. I will see you soon. And I'll send it off.
The hummingbird gives a little trill and flitters up on its wings and is gone, disappearing into the foliage, into the trees. And as the company is beginning to stand and stretch and get ready to move again, we see Hippolyta. Where does this break near this pool find you?
I am sitting in my carriage. I'm sitting at the foot of my bed. I am wrapped in a kind of deep forest green plush robe with a fur lining. And I'm staring into my open trunk. Scattered all around are the contents of the trunk, my costume from yesterday's performance, the two halves of my scarf that I sliced in half, various makeup pots and potions and pomades and all of those things around. The trunk is empty, except for two things that I'm staring unblinkingly at. The first is a brown paper parcel tied with just simple brown twine, and beside it is that tarnished silver, finely crafted hand mirror face down in the bottom of the trunk. And I am just staring at them. I kind of pull the robe around me, and as I do so, uh, Tiro just slowly materializes in just a soft breeze that smells like salt water.
So, in the quiet of your carriage, you begin to feel this pull, and it's magnetic almost at the back of your belly button, at the back of your head, someplace you can't reach, but you can feel it. And it's tugging you back toward that thing that belongs to you and only you, because you've buried it for so long because of hurt and loss. And it's something that you treasured for a long time because of the portents it held. And you feel the compulsion to look at it once more. So I ask you, as you stare down at this silver mirror, do you pick it up and look at it?
I don't. I turn to Tiro, just not even really turning, just slightly shifting my head in their direction. I've been thinking about looking again.
Looking?
In looking. It's been 98 years since the last time I looked, and all of a sudden I want to look, and I I'm I'm terrified of what I'm going to see if I look. Um, Taro, can I ask you for a favor?
Of
Possibly
course, Madam Hippolyta.
the biggest favor that I've asked of you ever, in the time that even bigger than you coming with me and being with me all this time. And in this moment, as I'm here kind of sitting in this fear and the worry about Caspian and the confusion about the Doppel Caspian, I would like to open up to Tiro.
Please do. Go ahead and roll your 2d6.
That is 6.
6? Okay. So I'm going to let you choose one anyway, and then I'll tell you what goes wrong.
I've never told anyone, not really, what I saw when I looked back then. And why I've been afraid to look since. If I ask you, will you look and tell me what you see?
Hmm. So at this, you see Tiro. Tiro has always been so staunchly complimentary and positive. They've always been someone who answers yes, not because they're sycophantic, but because they care about you and they want to make sure you're okay. And in this moment, you feel the no. You feel it before Tiro says it. And you feel the weight of what you're asking rest on Tiro's shoulders as they look at you and say, Madam Hippolyta, I couldn't. It isn't proper. And even if I did, it wouldn't show me what you would see. I cannot. But I can be here if you do.
In that moment, there is barely a deflation, as I knew before I asked what the answer would be and why. And still there's a part of me that's disappointed, the part of me that has me hiding here, the part of me that has, you know, pushed me to fake sick and get lost in the woods and just be unavailable somehow for 98 years of trips through the autumn court. Part of me that's a coward is the part of me that deflates with this answer from Tiro that I knew I would get anyway. And it's the part of me that has me shaking my head before I even realize that I'm shaking my head. No, I, I can't. I can't, because what if I still see them that way? Or worse, what if the things that I did are I can't I can't look. I can't look. And I get up and I start frantically throwing things back into the trunk. Just no rhyme, no reason, no order. Makeup pots come uncorked and spill, and I'm just jamming things furiously into the trunk and like trying to get the lid to close.
Madam Hippolyta, permission to speak freely.
Always, Tyrell. You never have to ask.
Madam, I have been with you 98 years, proudly beside you. There is nothing I would not do for you. And yet, the one thing I wish I could is denied me, because it is something you must do on your own. Madam Hippolyta, there is an opportunity for you to make peace. If this is something you've been pulled to, if this is something you want to do, how long will you allow the specter of your past to haunt you?
How can I? How could I ever make peace after what I've done? And then all this time that I've been hiding.
I think you will find, Madam Hippolyta, that time heals often, and maybe it heals for everyone. Antony, and you see Tiro sort of stumbles over the name a little, says, begging your pardon, your sibling made their choices, And you yours? And what of it? You have the option to make a different choice now. And so do they.
I kind of shake my head in this moment because Taro's always been on my side, always left court to come with me, left everything that they ever knew. And the shame that I feel in this moment, that's just it, Tiro. They didn't make a choice. That's what I've been hiding from. I've been hiding from how wrong I was and the mistake that I made because I was so angry and so hurt and I flew off the handle and I didn't think and I blamed them and it wasn't even their fault. And I can't look. The reason I can't look is because I know I'm gonna look and I'm gonna see that they hate me. They're gonna hate me because I blamed them and it wasn't even their fault and I was too much of a coward to go back and admit the mistake that I had made. And I've been hiding here and you've been thinking all this time such awful things about them because I was too much of a coward to say that I made a mistake.
No, madam, you misunderstand. Sir Antony, Madam Antony, they are. I never chose between the two of you. You needed me more. But my love for them never faltered either. Now, your decision, maybe it was a mistake. But you cannot fix a mistake by running from it, Madam Hippolyta. You can only go forward. And we're near the autumn court. Maybe the time has come.
I can feel it. Every time we pass here, I can feel it. And I want to go home so bad.
Then let us go, Madam Hippolyta. Together, let us go home.
Could I? Really? After all this time?
I think you will find arms more open than you've ever found. The Twilight Village cannot be the same without the twin heirs. The hearth tenders need be in pairs. You were born for this, and you are loved in this.
I think in this moment, I'm just kind of letting all of Tiro's words wash over me. I'm feeling, maybe for the first time since before I last looked in the mirror, when I still, you know, had hope of going home. I'm feeling just the smallest flicker of possibility. And I, turn to them and I thank you. Zero. For always being with me.
I would never want to be anywhere else, Madam Hippolyta. And you see they begin to sort of tidy your trunk and put things in there properly so that way your pomades have closed, your makeup pots are reclosed, and the mirror is left at the bottom where you left it. And Tiro closes the trunk, takes your hand, and gives it a squeeze, and leaves you with that moment of possibility. And from there, we will close chapter 2. Thank you guys so much for coming to hang out with us for chapter 2 of Chasing Caspian. We will be back next week with chapter 3. I forgot to do this last time, but we're gonna go around and have my fabulous cast introduce themselves again so that way you can find them and hang out with them on these internet streets. So we will start in reverse order. We're gonna go with Shauntelle.
Reverse order. Hi, I'm Shauntelle B. You can find me pretty much on and her, I guess. Pretty much on I've been trying to play fetch for the last 10 minutes as quietly and still as I can because this dog didn't want to sleep for the second half. So,
Oh,
you can find us on pretty much every social media at Shauntelle B. And I am an actor, writer, performer, psychologist, a whole number of things. And I do a whole number of things, and I'm all over the place. And it would be great to hang out. Come find me.
yeah. Alrighty. Next on our list, we have Garnet.
Hey everybody, I'm Garnet. I have been Morgana Dawn. This was such an emotional episode. You can find me on Blue Sky at my government name at Ashton Brienne, where I just do stuff. I tend to give hygiene tips and beg people to be clean because I don't like people sick. Like I don't like people sick. I don't like me sick. I don't like other people sick because you can't have fun when you're sick. So stay healthy so we can have fun.
A bar, a bar. And last but certainly not least, Emrys.
Hey everyone, my name is Emrys, they, them. You can find me on Blue Sky at the Dragon Emrys. And I have one post, but hopefully by the time this dropped, I will have thought of other things to post. Or you can find me on Tumblr at the Dragon Emrys on Tumblr if you're an old school baddie who is still on Tumblr. And you can go read all of the Call of Duty fan fiction that I reblog.
Period.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Big fan. And I am Alix. I am executive producer over here at Batty Bars. I have been your Mistrex of Ceremonies for episode 2, and we will see you next Saturday for episode 3. Thank you so much for joining us.